Welcome back.
Welcome back. Our careers survived another week.
Yeah, surprisingly, people actually seem to like it, which kind of put me off guard because I was kind of expecting that at best people would think it was a bit weird, and at worst they'd,
people like weird.
Yeah, I guess. So we have a guest this week, even though we have no interview skills and or talking skills, which is Mr. Nick Subfocus.
Hey guys.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
All good. Do you do a lot of interviews, or is this?
Yeah. I've never actually done any podcasts, so this is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
I'm listening
Same.
to like lots of podcasts at the moment, but yeah, there's not. It's the first time.
What sort of podcast are you listening to?
I like the Adam Buxton podcasts. I don't know if you checked those out. I think I was mentioning them to Gareth before.
Yeah, they sound really cool.
Who's that?
He is a guy, he's used to do like a cult TV show in the UK called The Adam and Joe Show, which was like late night Channel 4, sort of late 90s. And he's basically a comedian, but he interviews lots of different people. He had Charlie Brooker on recently who wrote the Black Mirror series.
Yeah.
But yeah, gets lots of good guests on. I check out like the Joe Rogan ones sometimes, all sorts of stuff really.
I do like that one. When it first starts out, you think, I don't know, you don't think he's the smartest dude in the world, and then he gets smarter the more you watch it.
He's actually quite articulate after you watch it for a while.
Yeah.
I think initially you just assume that because he's got muscles and he's like an what is it, MMA or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
He comments on commentary.
That's
on
right.
MMA.
Yeah, he does sports commentary. For
but
fighting.
I think he started as a stand-up and then went to that. But I think he sort of found his thing with podcasting. I think he's better at doing that.
I still kind of actually, I haven't seen any of his stand-up and I can't really imagine him doing it because he's never really like off the cuff funny.
Yeah. There's some stuff on Netflix that you can check out.
Is it any good?
It's he's not my favourite stand-up, but
very, very diplomatic.
So unlikely to be invited on his podcast now.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
After Elon Musk. Did you see that one?
Yeah. That was crazy. That was just madness that he would smoke a joint on air.
Dude, I wouldn't smoke one right now, and it doesn't matter. Like,
I
could. I could right now. There'd be no consequences, and I still wouldn't fucking do it.
Yeah. I wouldn't just. I wouldn't smoke one full stop, basically. So yeah. But it's crazy. And he did go. He did sort of go a bit weird, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a bit
deep, wasn't it? There was points there where he looked like he sort of had this rabbit in the headlights look in his eye where he looked like he'd gone too far, but he's like, well, I've got to keep going now.
Yeah.
You know, he's got this whole like hate community on the internet. Who just
Elon Musk, really?
Who just hate Elon Musk. Think he's full of himself, that he's not as smart as he thinks he is.
Yeah. He's done a few kind of slightly weird things recently because he had that like run-in with one of the divers on
the whole pedo thing.
Yeah. So he's basically had quite a lot of bad PR recently, but
that's what I felt
then,
like he was
I
trying
thought
to
everyone
do.
loved him because he was like the real life Iron Man kind of thing.
But that's what I thought he was trying to do. I felt like he was doing that podcast to kind of like clear the air or something, or look, I'm still cool.
Yeah, probably was advised to kind of
not smoke
his
a
public
joint.
relations out.
Yeah.
Smoke some weed, have a drink, everything's forgiven.
Yeah. Trying to think what other podcasts. S-Town was really good. Did you guys check that out?
No.
I'm writing these down.
It's like a true crime one.
Cool.
And there's another one called Serial, which was good in that vein. And then there's a guy called John Ronson as well. He's like a UK journalist. He did...
Oh, he used to be on... Is that the Channel 4 guy? Or?
Yeah, I think he's done some documentaries as well. He did like a...
oh shit, I know who you're talking about.
A podcast called The Butterfly Effect, which was about like the porn industry.
He's got like loads of those really deep, fucking insane documentaries, I think.
He's written some good books as well. Like The Psychopath Test is a good one of his. But yeah, he's worth checking out.
Yeah, all right. I guess we play the first tune of the
Let's drop
first
the
tune
track.
of the day, whenever the fuck we feel like it warrants it. This is Quincy Jones, Mark Ronson, and Shaka Khan. You know it was going to be good.
Reflecting what's in front of you, it's blinding tongue. A taste lingering on your lips, a feeling on your fingertips. Ooh, can't nobody tell you what you cannot do. Write a word and watch emotions flow right through you. Make it fly like a rocket, watch it soar across the moon. And keep reaching, keep reaching. Just keep on reaching. All you got to do is keep reaching. Like a star in the sky, it's always been right there for you. That's why you know what to do. You heard the call and it set you free. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming what you're meant to be. Ooh, can't nobody tell you what you cannot do. Write a word and watch emotions flow right through you. Make it fly like a rocket, watch it soar across the moon. Keep reaching, keep reaching. Just keep on reaching. All you got to do is keep reaching. Can't nobody tell you what you cannot do. Write a word and watch emotions flow right through you. Make it fly like a rocket, watch it soar across the moon. And keep reaching, keep reaching. Just keep on reaching. All you got to do is keep reaching. And keep reaching, keep reaching. Just keep on reaching. All you got to do is keep reaching.
Mark Ronson, Quincy Jones, and Shaka Khan. What do you reckon?
That is a vibe.
That dude's a genius, man. Like, who the fuck else has been slaying it that much since Amy Winehouse?
Yeah, Ronson's sick.
Just every track, like even those Bruno Mars ones. I can't remember the name now.
Oh God, what's it called? I can't quite remember.
Fuck knows. Feels a bit weird not having music in the background now.
That's what I said last week. That's why we need to have a beat
You
loop.
just get like a bed. don't
Yeah.
you?
Is that what they call it?
Sound beds. Yeah, I think so.
Just neat or like.
Well, we got those. That's probably the only thing I fucking do have.
Okay.
And I didn't even bother to get new effects. I thought at least I should like get like a duck or a
There's-
lion or fucking some shit.
I've searched air horn on this stupid app. There's so many.
Was that?
It's
like
a air horn
Rickroll
Rickroll.
air horn. Yeah.
Oh my god! Stop it.
This is all good content.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So, are you doing an album at the moment, or?
Yeah, what are you up to?
Yeah, I've basically been releasing singles for the last few years. I've been doing a lot of collabs this year. I just today been in the studio with Mark Wilkinson,
Oh yeah.
Cool.
working on some more stuff. We put out a track earlier in the year, and I just released a track with Dimension called Desire, which came out a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I've been really... Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I've been really enjoying doing collabs recently because it's just... I mean, you probably know what it's like, although you guys work together more, but I'm in the studio on my own a lot, and it just makes it much more vibey to like do stuff with other people.
Is it hard to judge like whether a track's good or not? Because like often I'm in the studio and
Yeah.
I'll slightly lose the plot, and it's always good to have like Gareth to listen to, and instantly he'll be like, yeah, maybe needs something else, or instantly he'll be like, that's fucking sick, we should go with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're. I'm quite envious actually of people who've got kind of like partnerships going because I think it is so useful.
Yeah,
you do
I've
just go a
always
bit
wondered.
crazy, don't you? Like,
I've always wondered what it's like for... Do you get really lonely?
it's not loneliness so much. It's just like I just want to like get some perspective on ideas a lot. I think also like sometimes. Recently I've found like I kind of get bored with the detail bit, which is really important, you know, like, so I'm quite good at like sketching things down,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
like finalize it, you know, like adding lots of effects or, you know, being really intricate is something that like I prefer doing with other people around because it's
Yeah.
like, but yeah, so yeah, I've been doing that a lot, and I'm definitely working towards like putting out another sort of body of music, but you know, I haven't announced.
So
an album or
do you
anything yet.
think the album, inverted commas, I'm doing inverted commas, but you
Yeah,
can't see it, is a dead medium?
No, not at all. I think they are sort of super valid still. I think that I don't think people are listening to whole albums like in their entirety that much. But I think it's still a big statement if you can do an album, because albums are harder if you're a producer to make.
That's a good point,
you know,
yeah.
So
I mean, they still
only a few people can sort of really successfully do them, I think.
they still seem to, for whatever reason, they still seem to get the most amount of attention, like in the press and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is that whilst I think now like record labels look at them as like not being necessarily a way to sell lots of music, and also the problem is like they might get overlooked on streaming, you know, more album tracks might get overlooked. However, I think
So I
the
guess
press don't talk about singles really that much, so press talk about albums, so that's part of the reason. It creates a moment, doesn't it, when you put something out, it sort of like defines that chapter of your career a little bit.
Like,
I
I'm
guess.
wondering if the whole album process can, you know, you can still have it as a body of work, but people start releasing the singles with consistency, and then at the end of that, here it is. It's an entire...
I think, to be honest,
Yeah.
that's the only way I can imagine working in the future. I'm so sick of like toiling away on an album and spending months and fucking like health going down the drain.
Yeah. That last bit of the album process is like so stressful, and like because you're trying to finish so many tracks at once.
Yes, we're both lucky enough to be managed by the same person during said albums, and
Yeah.
That's Dr. Joe Oakley, PhD.
Yeah.
Shouts
Big shout to Joe. Yeah. It is hard, that process. I think I quite like the sort of shorter albums that, like, you know, Kanye's released a bunch of stuff recently. I like the idea of potentially doing albums that aren't as long, you know, because the Virtual Self project was pretty cool.
That's
I thought.
amazing, that whole thing.
I think
really cool.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I think just being flexible about what an album is. Like, it could be 20 tracks, it could be 10, it could be 6 or 7. I think.
Have you seen
it's
his
cool.
DJ sets? Like he even plays like old Kamal tracks and all sorts of shit.
Oh wow, that's
That-
wicked.
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
it's really, really unexpected. Like, yeah, like
I didn't
it
think
was-
he'd play stuff like that. I thought he'd
Neither.
play like,
But
maybe
this is like,
some
I think this is like main stage
90s
EDC or some shit. I think
Wow.
it was.
sick.
Like, and hearing Kamal in that sort of environment is like, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, man.
Didn't think that would see the light of day.
Yeah.
God, he was a king for us.
Yeah. I remember getting a lot of his like early records on hardware and stuff like that, and yeah, they were like super clean production for the time, I think.
Yet distorted as well, like in all the right ways. It's like on percussion and hi hats. We used to study that.
Especially back then, there's just no way you could hope. Like, unless you had the hardware, you just couldn't get that sound.
Right.
I mean, the software was like Rebirth and fucking all sorts of old school.
Yeah.
Shit.
I remember those days. I think I can definitely hear it in like some of your early stuff, like the kind of really like intricate drums and stuff, like maybe Voyager or stuff like that, perhaps.
I don't know. It was sort of a happy accident where I was trying to actually get something that sounded halfway like them and failed, and on the way sort of managed to make something that was decent. That was different.
I guess that's even how Spiral came about, wasn't it? Is we were sort of going for a particular style and then
very particular,
right?
A very particular tune. So, what did you start working on? What software?
I started working on. Well, the very first one I used was called Notate for the Acorn.
Wow,
Acorn.
going
Holy
way
shit.
back.
Yeah,
that deserves an air horn. I
deep
think.
cuts again. Holy shit.
So it's really funny looking back because I had like an 8-bit sampler that fitted into the printer port.
Wow.
And basically you had to arrange the tracks via classical notation. That was the only way of putting in things. So I was trying to like make like rudimentary jungle basically with classical notation.
So like the snare, the hi-hat patterns are...
Yeah.
What was the sampler though?
Well, it was just like a kind of printer port kind of. It's just a thing that like slotted into the serial port or something, and then it had like a sort of a jack or like a phono in or something. But yeah, it was mad.
Do you let any of that stuff see the light of day?
No, I mean this is like when I was 13, and then I started using. My parents got a PC and I started using Cubase or Cubasis, which had like 2 tracks of audio on there. So that was like my sort of when I started to get into it a bit more. But I basically, started kind of getting some hardware together. But I think probably both of us kind of came into it when plugins and stuff like that took over.
Luckily,
which probably saved us a lot of time because I never really had to learn how to use like a sampler, which. Like the complexity and like the fiddliness of that, I can't sort of get my head around. Basically,
do you remember those sort of? There was that like brief moment where like sampling and fucking synths were being hooked up to sequences that just didn't have the bandwidth to output the MIDI, and so that you got these really sloppy beats. Like I was even listening to this the other day.
Right. Yeah.
Like. That when I was young sounded really together and tight, and it just sounds like sounds like a fucking mess. Listen to all the drums.
You mean like the quantizing of it, kind of thing?
Yeah. Everything's like even
and there's drift.
Do you think
as
it's
well?
like the I mean the drift I guess would be the computer, but then there's also if those were samples, because you're not like visually editing, there might be like silence at the start of the sample before it plays.
Didn't think of that.
So there's also that kind of.
I found on my I had because I used to do it with a Mac plugged into I think it was Giga Studio or some sound module. And
did you run Giga Studio separately?
Yeah. And I had it was again the serial port of the Mac, but the more notes that you had, the less the time kept. So the time would just start fucking spreading the more notes you had.
Right.
Until your beat sounded something like this. Like everything off the beat, it just can't keep up. It was kind of funny.
I remember like people talking about like Ataris having really good timing. Like some of.
I remember hearing that as well.
Some of like the older computers were better with MIDI, and some of them are worse and stuff.
Or people somehow using like 808s to keep time or some shit like that. I think I heard.
Yeah. You can. I've got into modular recently, and you kind of like use like.
Is that a rite of passage?
It's a bit of a kind of. Rabbit hole of different
bits of kit.
Things you can get.
Are you using it on the new record at all? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I've been using it quite a bit. It's cool because it's sort of
it's tactile, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tactile, and there are like concepts in modular world which aren't as kind of prevalent in the software world. So using like random is quite common. So like they're basically there's a lot of modules that output sample
like
and hold.
A random oscillator.
Yeah, well, they'd output like sample and hold waves, so kind of basically jagged waves at different random heights. And if you take those and quantize them, you can kind of create random melodies, or you could take random gates, which are basically random rhythms. So it's cool because you can set up like generative music on them. But it is very hit and miss, and you know, there's sometimes you spend hours like making one sound.
I don't know.
So it's a bit of a waste of time sometimes.
I've kind of watched it from afar and been like, oh man, I know I'd kind of like it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I've heard like 2 people do something good with it. Like,
yeah. There's some
probably
people
Joel.
I really love. Like, do you know Richard Devine? Do you know
Yeah,
his
he
stuff?
does some cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
What's his name? He did Interstellar. Why can't I think he's one of my favourite
Oh,
composers?
Hans Zimmer.
Oh yeah.
He apparently travels with
Dude, his
16 tons worth of.
Have you seen his?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen his studio?
Yeah, it sort of looks like it's kind of red looking, big
Yeah.
living room type thing.
But you
isn't
know
it?
how he has all these bookshelves, which so it looks kind of library-ish.
Yeah.
Those bookshelves swing around, and they've got modulars on the other side.
Oh wow,
What?
that's
Which is
cool.
fucking-
Studio goals.
Which is pretty gangster.
That's awesome.
All he needs is like a fish pond underneath the glass. Which studio was that had the?
Oh, that's Peter Gabriel, Real World.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Fish in the floor, man.
Right, let's play a tune.
All right. Yeah, basically, this is actually the tune I've been using to test lines for the podcast. And when I first heard it, I was like, oh, yeah, pretty good. Subfocus, new track. And by the end, I was like, this is such a fucking tune.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, man.
It's Desire by Nick, who's here right now.
Desire, I wanna take you right there. I really wanna know why you just won't give me all of your desire. I wanna take you right there. Let me take you right there. I wanna take you right there. Let me take you right there. I wanna take you right there. Let me take you right there. I've been waiting all this time for you. I need you right now. Give me all of your desire. I wanna take you right there. I really wanna know why you just won't give me all of your desire. I wanna take you right there. Let me take you right there. Oh, won't you give me all of your desire? I wanna take you right there. Let me take you right there. You just won't give me all of your desire. I wanna take you right there. Let me take you right there. I wanna take you right
That was Nick himself with Dimension.
That was sick. Loving that.
Thanks, guys.
Oh wait, the track's Desire, the dude's Dimension. Who is Dimension anyway? We've been out of drum and bass too long.
Oh yeah. He's just moved in here actually.
Has he?
He's downstairs for me at the moment. Guy called Rob. He's done some really good tunes lately. Yeah, you should check him out, man.
I think I've got some stuff on Rekordbox, but
I've seen
I
some,
never know
yeah.
who's who.
Yeah. He did a wicked tune called UK a couple of years ago, which is like kind of jungle track, super kind of 4/4 drum breaks and like old MC samples and stuff. It's really cool.
Do you still consider yourself drum and bass?
Yeah, definitely. I still kind of play a bit of a mixture of stuff. Some shows I play just drum and bass. It depends like on the night and how I'm feeling and stuff. Yeah.
Drum and bass is getting kind of interesting lately. It kind of
Yeah.
feels a little bit like everybody's bored, which is a good thing because everyone's getting kind of a little bit more creative.
Yeah, what have you guys listened to lately? I mean,
Just random shit on Spotify.
Yeah.
Muzzy's good.
yeah, there's a lot of new jump up guys who are pretty good, like Upgrade, I don't know if you know that guy's stuff.
Love Jump Up.
Upgrades, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that Jump Up was always this sector of drum and bass that we didn't really understand. I guess we weren't involved in it, but it seemed to have a click.
Loved some of it, like Hazard.
We
and-
loved it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this
We were.
earlier about you guys like really sort of kind of turn me on. Well, you were like when we sort of hang out initially, like when we first met, you were going on about all these Hazard tunes, and
Is that back
you're completely
when,
right because it's
Is that
like,
back when we were passive aggressively competitive?
in the olden days?
In the olden days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I think you drew my attention to the fact his tunes are like really well made. It's interesting, like how he basically uses lots of old like hardware to make these like very crusty, deliberately crusty sounding tunes,
crusty's a
which is
good
quite
word.
amazing. Like,
Yeah.
because you'd expect, like you wouldn't have to use like high end hardware to do that, but he knows what he's doing.
He comes across as a kind of person that's very stuck in their ways and like with his equipment and the way he uses it and what he gets out of it.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear that in the tunes.
Yeah, but that's quite cool, isn't it? Because it
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
gives you personality.
Yeah.
Being,
and it kind of means that no one can really easily
Exactly.
yank the sound just because
Yeah,
it's made
yeah.
with a certain.
Big
I don't know,
time.
he's got his own process and some of it's analog and shit.
yeah, exactly.
It's really cool. Yeah, I don't know when first time we heard of you at all was
Yeah.
I think we were at some slamming vinyl, I think it was,
Yeah.
thing, and it was me, Gaz, and Hornet at
Me.
some it was like a 15,000 person rave,
Yeah.
and
Because we were the new kids on the block. We didn't want a new kid coming on the block.
Oh yeah.
yeah, we were kind of comfortable in our own little weird Australians in London adventure, not knowing what the fuck is going on. And
Yeah.
then we were, I think, like Hornet and Gaz were going to go back for the night, and I was like, man, I'm 22. I'm not I'm at some weird Middle England fucking rave with 15,000 people. I'm not
Was it
going
like
back.
Milton Keynes or something in the middle of?
Yeah. And there was some like little VIP room at the top of the place.
Yeah.
And I think it was Red One, and he was playing this.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
stopping it right there. Like that fucking the little build up and then drops the silence was fucking
Oh yeah.
Not gonna lie, we shat ourselves.
yeah. Because it was like, I don't know, we'd obviously we'd been looking up to a lot of people in drum and bass, but at the same
Yeah.
time we'd found like our own comfortable little, not niche, but like our own little weird thing that we were doing, and then suddenly
yeah.
I hear this tune and I'm like, holy
Yeah.
shit, that's
Yeah.
pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, thanks.
I went up to Red One. I was like, "Who's
Yeah.
that?" He's like, "Oh, it's Sub Focus, mate, new RAM thing." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I go back home and type on Google like Sub Focus, and all I
Yeah.
get is fucking like subwoofer
Oh yeah. Yeah.
placement guides on hi-fi websites and shit. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
God
That
damn
was early. I remember playing a gig with you, Gareth, in like a really long time ago. I think it was like 2004, maybe in Spain.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, when I first heard of you guys, I was like completely blown away by the stuff. Like I was hearing like Vault, and it was I mean, I guess that there was sort of a mutual respect that we didn't really talk about then, but
I think what it was for us as well is like is this kind of the competitive to and froing that was going on. I think was driving everything forward.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I mean?
always
Where-
really good. That. Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. I mean, it even happens, I think, I don't know. It's always... And I find sometimes if you don't have that, you stop having ideas. Like you kind of need to hear someone else's track and be like, holy shit, that's fucking really cool.
Yeah,
And then go
yeah.
away and try and dissect it and try and do something that's, I don't know, it's healthy, I think.
Yeah, big time. I always like when for a bit I had a studio like right next door to Chase and Status and
Right.
Nero, and Breakage was there, Shy FX was there, Casper was there,
Damn.
and it was like a nice
melting
setup.
pot.
Yeah, it was cool. It was around like I can try to remember when it was, like 2009. No, maybe 2010 to 13 sort of time.
Oh, that's right. I remember. And Nero as well had a room there or something, did they?
Yeah. They were. I think Chase and Status moved
So it was
to
like
a bigger
everyone
room,
but
and then
us.
Nero came in. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was a really good time because we were all basically just things were sort of that type of music was starting to get a bit more popular in a mainstream way, and we were all kind of like experimenting.
When
with
was
different
this?
stuff? So yeah, I guess like 2009,
Okay.
2010 sort of time. I think is when I moved in.
Is that when Nero were doing what was that album they had?
When they did
Promises and
yeah, that was. I think that came out in 2011. But yeah, it was just when they were writing all that stuff, and I'd sort of met them a few times on the kind of circuit, I guess, like in the mid.
Are those
noughties
guys still together? I heard like rumors or like that they've broken up, or maybe they have something new or new project.
Dan is doing a side project with Alana called The Night,
Okay.
which they've just put out a couple of tracks, and
Is it any good?
yeah. I mean, I think he's just moved out of here, so
Oh, yeah.
he's not here anymore. But yeah, he's and then I think Joe like has done some mad stuff. Like he was like recording some like people like musicians in Haiti for a bit and stuff.
Who was the main? There was one dude.
which one's the Rob? Which one's the Gaz?
I don't want to say this shit.
This is it's hard for me to comment. I think they're both quite kind of even in because I would say that you're Gaz, you're more like overview and
Yeah,
Rob's more technical.
Yeah.
Is that fair? I think
would be
those
fair.
those guys are more
Both
It's
technical.
more they're both pretty technical, but yeah, I think also Joe lives in America, I think, at the moment, so I think they're
It's going to be hard to do a duet.
Who's the one who does the DJ sets?
both of them, I think.
Oh, really?
They alternate. Yeah,
Man,
they're,
I
they're
made
good
a-
friends of mine. Though. Good guys.
I made a gaff with one of them this one time when
Yeah.
we were in we were in Holland for some show. What was it? Tomorrowland. That was it. And I think they were playing at Laid Back Luke's. They were playing at Tomorrowland's Super Me and You stage, which basically means that you
everyone dresses up as a superhero.
you dress up as a superhero. So
Do you have to do that?
I think it's optional. yeah.
Apparently
Yeah.
not, but see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And one of the guys from Nero was wearing this like very large brimmed sort of
Yeah,
wide black hat.
Yeah.
And and he was playing on that stage. So I immediately go up to him and go like, "Oh, cool, man. Who are you? Are you Zorro?" And he's like, "What?" He wasn't dressed up.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing a costume. That was just his hat.
We need a soundbite for Rob Faux
Listen, dude. I got to get new sounds. These are getting old.
I need to plug my sounds in.
But yeah, man, we went home and listened to obviously got X-Ray on, probably on through the mail on dubplate.
Yeah.
I think we begged Fresh
on
to
the
give
white
it to
label
us or
or
something
something.
because he would get it from Andy or
Yeah.
And so
AIM days.
I don't know. The riff was so fucking killer to me. I sort of like listened to it for ages and like, wondered what to do and shit.
Yeah.
And we were so vexed about it. We ended up actually sending. we ended up writing our own, smoking a bunch of weed.
Yeah.
Which we did occasionally back then.
Yeah.
And recording our own metal version of it, and then sending that to Andy C.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Why did we do this? It's so hilarious.
I've never heard this.
I don't know, but we sent it to Andy without telling him who it was.
Yeah. It's a
I think
masterpiece.
we made up an email address and we just sent it to him, and this was the result.
Can you play it?
That's
Wow.
And that's why you don't smoke marijuana, kids.
That's why you don't smoke weed. That's some 2005 embarrassment right there.
Yeah.
That was basically the
amazing.
result of us fucking being jealous of the tune and then smoking too much weed.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, yeah, man, there's so many tunes of yours that I was like well jealous of at the time.
Did you do any metal covers of them?
No, I didn't go that far.
See, it's cathartic, man. Like that got it out of my
But
system.
yeah,
doing that.
do you feel better?
It's been, 10 years we wanted to show you this.
That is incredible, man.
We did send that to Andy. I don't even know if you know
Why
how you
did
sent.
we do that? Why would we send it to what?
I think because back then, like he had an open AIM thing.
Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
that's right, yeah.
AIM died recently, didn't it?
Did it?
Did it? Oh,
yeah,
sad times.
I think so.
That is sad times because that was cool for a while.
Yeah, it was quite stressful though, because I think like people
Yeah,
would hit
if
you
you
up
didn't
a lot.
reply to them, they'd start cussing
Yeah.
you out. I had a
Like-
few unnameable people that
Like
would do
big
that to me.
DJs would hit you up, and I'd be like, these guys were like my heroes when I was
Yeah.
growing up. But I was having to be like, oh, sorry, man, I can't send you that tune because it's on lockdown or something. Or,
Just talking about that, like the politics in drum and bass back then.
Let's go
Yeah.
there.
Fucking nuts. So stressful, man.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I think. I mean, I wonder whether it's like that in all of music, but definitely, I remember.
No,
I
I
remember
think
one point actually when Chase and Status put out Eastern Jam.
Yeah.
Like a few people did like remixes and like bootlegs of that, and they were like quite pissed off about that at the time. But that's shows how much things have changed, because that's kind of more what would have happened in drum and bass. Like if you'd done an unofficial remix or something. In fact, I remember doing them when I was a kid. Like I did a remix
Well,
of
like a
Deadline,
bootleg?
and I
Right.
played it to somebody from Cause for Concern in
Love
a
that
record
tune.
shop.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that because it's like the original people get annoyed. But now it's kind of fair game to do that stuff now.
Oh, dude, everyone does
because you
it
just
to
can't
random shit.
control it.
Yeah.
But I
And
can
it's
remember-
kind of cool because it adds to the sort of people's awareness of the tune. If
It's not even really like an insult anymore. It's like, hey,
No.
it's almost like come back to being a compliment or something, which it
Yeah.
should have been
Yeah.
in the first place.
Yeah, like look how many tribute covers there are on most songs of
But
people trying to.
even giving tracks to certain people. I remember like in the Pendulum days,
It was a minefield.
like
Wasn't
if we
the
would
order
give,
that you give people tracks in.
it's
that
like
what
if
you mean?
we gave a track to someone who wasn't Andy
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
and Fresh, we were
he
signed to
hit
Breakbeat
the
Chaos.
fucking roof, didn't he?
Fresh would just be like, mate, what are you doing? Like, you can't
Yeah,
just
yeah.
give tracks to this random dude on
Yeah.
AIM. You gave it to Magistrate from fucking wherever
Yeah.
wherever
There was
he's
a lot of stuff about like you. I mean, I know I'd probably still say this is something that you have to think about now, but you couldn't play a tune that you weren't given. So like
Yeah.
people would have kind of like dubs
That's
that they
right,
weren't
yeah. So
supposed
if
to
you-
play, and that was a massive. Like I remember hearing about DJs like ripping the dub off the deck and like breaking the dub, or like just that was like a
'Cause
massive.
do you think it was because
No.
having the new tune or the latest tune was the reason they were getting booked, or made them the top of the pack, or it made the reason why people would come and see them? Like, what was the? 'cause
Yeah.
I think Andy was going to get booked anyway, whether he had the latest
Yeah.
Subfocus tune or
I think
Pendulum tune or not.
the whole kind of that the whole
It's
sort of
dubplate
DJ
culture.
scene at the time was obsessed with new stuff, and I was like listening to my sets I did then. I was playing lots of unreleased music, and now I would say I play a lot more released music. Partly because there's not the same. Like tracks sometimes wouldn't come out for years,
Dude,
especially in the
or
early,
never,
early days.
or never.
1 or 2 years or something, and you'd have all that time to play it. It was it was kind of cool actually.
Yeah, it was good for sort of your set being fresh. And you used to, I mean, now quite often you get sent a tune like the day before it comes out, or the week it comes out, or
If that.
the month maybe. So that doesn't exist as much anymore. But yeah, it's kind of sad, that bit. Although I think people, you'd get frustrated waiting for stuff. I remember going to record shops when I was a kid, like just continually asking for tunes, and
Talking quickly about the dubs that you weren't allowed to play. Like, I mean, me and Gaz, when we first came to the UK, we didn't know that.
yeah.
El Hornet obviously did, because he was a bit older than us. He was like a bit
He
more
understood the game a bit better, yeah.
bit more
Yeah.
entrenched in the drum and bass scene. But
Did you guys ever get in trouble for that then? or-
All the
well,
time.
see, what we did was we were living in Fresh's sort of apartment, and the deal was that we'd sort of signed to Breakbeat Chaos, and we'd come over and sort of live in his place for a while.
Well, we sort of got ourselves set up.
And being in London, like, it's fucking expensive. So
Yeah.
we were like jumped at the chance. But the other
Yeah.
thing was he was still getting dub plates
Sent to the house.
sent to the house.
Oh, yeah.
And me and Gareth not knowing shit, we were like, oh, look at this fucking tunes through the mail. Let's just play these in the sets.
Okay, cool.
Which was like-
well, he was getting like records or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, like he was getting like a new Dillinger thing that like
Yeah,
was
yeah.
coveted, and we.
And we'd be like, oh, thanks for that, man. Yeah, sweet. And it was
Oh,
like
shit.
very quickly got told
Oh no.
to fucking cut that out. And we were like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was such a minefield for us when we got over here.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I
possibly-
remember not realising that as well when I was growing up, and then you
Yeah.
kind of get to know the ins and outs.
well,
of the
I'm sure you
scene.
probably understood it a little better because I guess you did grow up closer to it than we did.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
were
big time.
9,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in London or?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I grew up in London, and then my parents moved to Kent, and then but I kind of was always in and out of London. I had a lot of friends in London, and used to when I left school, I was like working in London for a couple of years, so I was up here a lot. Then
Dude,
went to uni here.
I can't even imagine growing up here. It's such a fuck. I always see
Yeah.
like kids coming out of the schools, and I'm just like, how the fuck
Yeah,
are they
yeah.
living in this insane fucking broken city?
I mean, I always find London like really exciting. I don't know whether there's like, because I grew up in central London, I have a real like nostalgia when I'm walking around there.
Right.
Yeah, I love it here. But I know what you mean. I mean, it's much more hectic than Western Australia, where you guys come from.
There's-
Just a little bit.
Even
I
the
guess
amount of
you get used to it, like wherever you grow up. Like,
Like I can just imagine a bit like I don't know how I'd like I know what you mean. Like how would you have survived as a kid here?
Dude,
But I
even
guess
just
you do.
even just the amount of people on the streets. I remember that weirded me out when I came to live here. Like,
Really?
just in Western Australia, people are more spread out. You go to the city,
Yeah.
there's like a whole bunch of distance between you and the next person on the street.
yeah.
But
It's
here,
good for personal
the houses
space.
are all
Yeah.
crammed together. There's a billion people in Hampstead or Hendon or some fucking place.
Yeah,
So that sort of put me on edge for a while.
yeah,
I can remember from day one just being like I think, and just the expense of it and how intense it was. 'Cause
Yeah,
I landed.
it's a huge move that you guys made. You know, you must have. Well, how did you feel coming out here? Were you like really
it was a
excited?
fucking
or-
culture shock. I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
By the time we got back to the house, I'd spent my life savings.
big culture shock.
We went to buy groceries and I'd spent all my money. I was
Well,
like, right.
well, the pound
well,
was
that's
like
it.
the pound was like 2 to 1,
Yeah,
or
so
something back
So
then.
your
So I'd
your
like- I'd
money
like
didn't go
sold-
far, basically.
Oh, no.
On
Yeah,
your
not at
Aussie
all.
dollars.
I'd sold a guitar and some of my possessions and my life savings. By the time we'd gone grocery shopping, I'd spent all my money.
I remember me and El Hornet's girlfriend were coming back from Heathrow Airport or something. We made the mistake of jumping in a black cab, and
Oh yeah.
we had no money basically.
That's I don't even do that now.
Oh, dude, I would never do that. But we didn't know we were from Australia.
Yeah.
And of course, the back cab knew that we weren't
It's-
from here.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we're like, which way do you want to go, mate? And we're like,
Home.
Fucking the quickest way, please. And he's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, fucking 10 times around the North Circular it
You
is.
get fleeced.
But
Yeah.
it just cost like £100 or something. It was
Right.
fucking-
Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah.
And back then that was like
That's a
200
rent.
Australian. We got
Yeah.
fucked in the ass. All right, speaking of drum and bass, I found this recently. Speaking of Shy FX,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
haven't,
this is a banger.
I haven't actually heard anything from a while, and
I like this one.
it's worth hearing the switch. All right, this is Shy FX, Bad Boy Business.
tell them, in him. Cry out for we girls, I cry out for we. Cry out for we girls, I cry out for we. And from the very first day when you meet me, remember me, they tell you it not go easy. I me run the whole show completely. And listen to the word when me tell you keenly. Cause from a juvenile in our infancy, and we are star boy in our community. We are the girls them daddy. We are the girls them daddy. And anyway we did the girls cry out for we. I know my fault if the girls love we, because we are the girls them daddy. We are the girls them daddy. And it no matter even if we there Italy, and it no matter if we there London City. Girl, I never leave you lonely. You know we run the premises. Real bad boy business. Worldwide, international girls cry. Ragamuffin sit. Hear that?
Take it, you don't need it. Why you showing off your weakness? You don't need a front, don't need a front, don't need a front, 'cause I need a real one. Take it, ego off, don't need it. Why you showing off your weakness? You don't need a front, don't need a front, don't need a front, 'cause I need a real one. Everywhere we go, baby, you don't wanna know, baby. Soon as we alone, baby, it's when I like you the most. Everywhere we go, baby, you don't wanna know, baby. Soon as we alone, baby, it's when I like you the most. Don't need it. Why you frontin'? I don't need it. Why you frontin'?
Smooth outro.
That's sick. That's a
That's
carnival
wicked.
one.
It's all about that little switch. Blue blood clot tune.
Yeah.
Sick.
I love the way it sounds like the tune's getting rewind in
Yeah.
the tune. It's really cleverly done.
I miss those sort of I don't know, tracks with little soundscape things going on like that. Do you remember? Even though that's I guess not really one of those, but do you remember that?
Yeah.
What was that fresh track?
Floodlight.
Oh yeah.
With the footsteps coming up to the door and the door opening and then it being a rave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I heard that did sound like amazingly clever. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Did you think that as well?
That was
Like-
fucking genius.
Yeah.
I thought.
So
Really
it's like
cool.
kind of the intro's like footsteps, people like talking to each other, going to a rave, and then they open the door and it drops, kind of thing. Like you
Yeah.
hear all the music rushing. It's really cool.
That's really clever.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sweet.
I haven't heard this in so fucking long.
Yeah, me neither, man.
It's got to be like 10 years.
This is like one of the first times that I'd heard like text to speech in an intro,
Oh yeah,
Which-
of course.
which we've done consistently for the
Yeah.
past however many years.
Oh yeah, like fully. Sounds like music.
That's right. He'd do a VIP. It sounds like DJ Fresh. Sounds like Andy.
Yeah.
In that bit. So he'd do.
Is this the VIP or?
No, this is the.
Oh, he'd do
the
a
main
VIP.
version.
He'd do a
Yeah.
VIP for each DJ.
When they said
And
that
send them
sounds
out.
like they had
It
like an
sounds
Andy
like
C
Andy,
one.
yeah.
And, yeah.
So that's how you knew you'd made it. If you got a VIP
Yeah,
made
yeah.
for you.
Dude, I think we were on fucking Breakbeat Cast. We didn't get one.
No, I definitely didn't get one of those.
Those footsteps have aged a bit.
Yeah. This used to slay the end, this tune. This was like everyone's intro
And
tune. for
Fabric
Brick,
as
wasn't it?
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Just the fact that the music sounded like it was gradually getting closer. Which
Yeah.
is fucking genius.
Yeah,
as
it's clever.
well. This does take a while.
It's still good. It's still good. We're getting there.
It feels like we've been walking forever.
What kind of music is that?
It's all about that break
Yeah.
and this bit.
Such obnoxious sub use.
Dude, I fucking love it.
Oh yeah, and the
Triplet bit.
That was right after Vault came out, and that was just like, well, that tune's big. I'll fucking whack that in.
The triplet switch.
I think
thing,
he showed it to us first because he knew that
you guys might be a bit sensitive about
if you get it's kind of one of those things where you like to get the blessing first.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're signed to Breakbeat Chaos, living in his house. What are we gonna do?
It's true, actually. Yeah, not much leverage.
I miss that sort of. You know what? The other day, I mean, we were trying to we were doing Pendulum live sets.
Yeah,
and we were. I think the first track that we had in the set was Salt in the Wounds, and we were like, if this was a DJ set, we'd be doing a switch like for the second drop of this, just because we don't want to play the whole fucking song, and like it's like 7 minutes. It's
yeah.
a bit too drags on a bit.
The translation of drum and bass songs to live sets is like, wow, these are really long songs.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know what you mean.
We could have just edited it. I don't know why we didn't do that. But I said, like, in a DJ set we'd normally do a switch, and I was trying to think of some tune in the last 10 years that had some sort of vocal riff or like.
Yeah,
just some fucking thing.
And there was nothing really, was there?
There was nothing I could think of. That probably the last thing I could think of that everybody would know was like Time Warp and Rocket.
Yeah,
was like the last, like other drum and bass track with like a
hook melody
with like one singular hook that everybody's instantly going to be like, oh
yeah. But there are loads of other tunes.
Is that just because we don't hear them?
I think so. Yeah. But I mean, I could think about.
Is there a mailing list we can get back on now that AIMS doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah. I mean, you must get all the mail outs.
Do people still do like riffs and shit though? Because it seems like even the people with that sort of pendulum sub-focus mix who are doing that sort of style, even they don't use like.
I think you're right. There's like because when
like where a crowd at Reading would just be like it doesn't matter what cross section of the community it was, a crowd at Reading or Leeds would know that riff.
Yeah.
Because of. Do you know what I mean?
I think it was like you guys kind of spearheaded that really riffy sort of sound. I think that maybe is like less people do that now, but it still happens. I mean, I think a lot of the things that get sung back to you aren't necessarily riffs. You know, like that Hazard tune, Bricks Don't Roll. You know, that's a lot of Hazard stuff gets sung, and it's kind of bass lines and weird sounds.
When did that come out? That was like
that's a couple of years ago.
Or Mr. Happy
3 years ago,
and all that shit.
That's more like 5 or 6. But those tunes, like the ones that would get super recognition and the crowd sing it back to you.
I do kind of miss those kind of riff wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
riff wars.
Good fun. It's been, I don't know. I woke up once. This is kind of embarrassing. I woke up once and I fucking had the most genius riff.
Yeah.
And I fucking was like, how has nobody thought of that? And I put it into a sequence and I sent it to Gaz. It was fucking Rocket, dude. It's like piece of shit. Like for a second there, I was like, "Yeah, this is gonna fucking kill it."
Yeah. It's so easy to done though, because I think I love the kind of writing melodies and stuff like hooks. Is really enjoyable, but I think they're quite hard because there's only so many like permutations of notes within a scale.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to work. So you inevitably get like things that sound a bit like something else, or. You know.
No, this didn't sound like something else. This was literally note for note, actual fucking Rocket. Yeah, literally.
What's going to happen when the AI starts writing the riffs? Do you reckon? It's just going to stumble across the old riffs, and then the.
You know what's scary is I don't know, I get obsessed with things from now and then. And a while ago, I was like, I just want to see. Like I can program a little bit, so I want to see like how far I can get to like AI writing. Music, and then if I even like manage it like even shittily, then I know that at least Google can fucking come and like, take our jobs if they want to. Because if I can do it, like there's bound to be a billion other people out there who can do it. Better.
It will happen, won't it? I think that like certainly like things writing like note patterns must already really exist to like quite a high level of sophistication.
It got pretty fucking close.
You know, like I think I was reading about like an algorithm that writes like music in the vein of different classical composers, because you can kind of get their house style.
So like Rachmaninoff or...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that might already exist, but I think that there's a lot of sound creation that's probably harder to program, isn't there? Like, you know, like the sound design that you guys do. And then there's the other thing of like, I imagine people would want to listen to stuff that's been made by other humans, because there might be a psychological barrier to when like we're all listening to robot music. Maybe there's it's going to be a bit like vinyl now or something. People are going to be like, yeah, I prefer a real human composer.
At the risk of sounding like Elon Musk smoking weed, it probably is out there. We just don't know it. It's a simulation.
Yeah. What do you mean?
There probably is tunes that have been maybe.
Who's going to be Joe Rogan and say, "Whoa, that's fucking intense"? Hey, Jamie, have you seen that video of that duck? Fucking. This is how far I got with the whole AI thing. So this is all this whole melody and like
is completely computer generated.
But so how many was it trained on? The system was trained on. It
was trained on. I think like I tried training it on like 50 songs, which isn't enough. Like you need like 2,000 or something.
So is that
to
like
populate
basically
the
computer
database.
learning? Like you're playing it music and it's analysing it and then
So it's basically I just fed it MIDI files. But the thing is,
I was going to ask you that because you can do kind of turning audio into MIDI now, but it's very inaccurate. So I'm imagining that bit is like a stumbling block. You know what I mean? Like it'd be much better if you could just play it, the audio of the music, but you have to sort of feed it the musical data to be able to get it to.
So I was feeding it MIDI files, but even then you've got to be careful what you feed it, because if you give it mistakes, it will just learn the mistakes.
Okay.
So like I had to strip out the drums or like any pitch bends. You have to convert to actual notes because otherwise it just doesn't.
Okay.
Because of the notation for the drums is just going to be one note plodding along.
This is how close I got. Ignore the shitty trap drums. It's weird because I trained it on a whole bunch of like, it was like Elton Johnish, like random shit from the 60s and 70s, and you can kind of hear it in that progression. Like
Yeah.
I thought if it worked with trap drums behind it, then maybe it was.
I'm so glad we haven't smoked weed because I'd just blow our minds. A computer made it, man.
It is amazing, man. That's really impressive. Presumably, you looped up that bit with the.
I just looped it. I mean, it does do repetitions, but like I don't know, it'll repeat a lot of. I mean, the thing is, it obviously doesn't have a feel for what repetitions work. So sometimes it'll just pick the shittiest part of a riff or a melody. And go with that.
Like, I guess that the more it's trained, the closer it gets to the target information, I guess.
But what do you mean? If you think if you fed it like 1,000 files, it might make much better music? Probably.
Well, I mean, it's like if you take the Rocket riff, like instead of like and instead of repeating just that, it might pick a weird random bit in the middle and decide that that's a good bit to loop in with on the the fourth bar or something.
Sure. You could turn this into like an amazing riff generator, like feed in all the good riffs.
That's what I want. I want
because that wouldn't be as complicated, would it? I mean,
what I want
way more complicated.
Is to give it like every fucking pendulum riff, every sub-focus riff, like every riff that was ever good in drum and bass, and go write me 100 of those ones, and just hear what the fuck they sound.
And then
like.
you could take the output and adjust it to fix it, or you could hear parts of it that will work, and you just clip those out.
Sure. It's still at a point where you'd have to sort of edit it to turn it into something meaningful.
So I think probably the way you could, I don't even know how the fuck you do this. I wouldn't even know where to start. But I think probably the way to get it perfect, it would be to have like human input saying like, okay, that's a good one. That one was shit. This one was good. And then it sort of learns from that feedback.
Okay, yeah. So basically you get it to above and
like
then judge the playback and then.
But I'm too dumb to do that.
That's a level above. I mean, it's amazing you've done that, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to see like if I can do that, then what the fuck can someone do if they actually know?
DeepMind or something.
Yeah, what the fuck could DeepMind or Google do? Like, could they put us out of work tomorrow? Or?
Yeah. I mean, but like I was saying, I think people probably do slightly value the fact that they know that it's been made by a human. But I think.
I mean, because I guess it's going to get into the realms where is AI generating pictures and art and stuff like that.
What was that?
Yeah.
What was that movie?
There might be some really amazing art that gets made by AI. Like there probably will be stuff that we're like, wow, that's like so intricate that a human could have never done that.
Have you seen that film where there's like an AI generated pop star? What the fuck was that called?
Oh yeah, and
no, don't think so.
Al Pacino or Dustin Hoffman. I get confused those guys. I don't know why because they're completely different.
He's controlling like the pop star.
Eve.
from a van backstage, and like
Yeah.
she's playing all these festivals, but it's just fucking what's it called? What does Prids have at his shows?
A hologram.
Hologram.
Yeah.
It's just a hologram on stage, and then Dustin Hoffman's in the van, fucking controlling this pop star, and that's all just
Right.
computer generated.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Eve, it's called.
That's where we're going.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I'm googling that. Eve.
but I don't know. Where if I'd sort of love to get to the point where you can just fucking AI generate top lines.
Yeah.
Not even just the melody of it, just to get someone to fucking sing a top line.
Yeah.
You know Vocaloid and all that stuff?
Yeah, didn't Porter Robinson use that a little bit? Like for those kind of, I think maybe on the previous album, it was quite interesting, like kind of these like disembodied vocals.
Have you ever fucked with that software?
I think I might have looked at it. I found it like very complicated to use, I think.
It was nuts. It was one of those
Have you
things-
used it much?
Well, no, I mean, I just downloaded it with the intention of like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll have a go.
It's quite old, isn't it? Is it been up? Is it like still updated?
They've had updates.
Yeah.
But like within sort of half an hour, I was like, well, I'm never opening this again. Fuck this. Too hard. It was way too complicated.
So it's not like Melodyne. Do you like edit you edit all the pictures, don't you?
It kind of was, but you had to edit like the phonetic fucking, I don't know. It was
getting that to sound natural must be very difficult because you're kind of like.
Well, Porter, I mean, apparently there's like this whole Vocaloid community online.
Yeah.
And he sort of just apparently had sort of guidance from this forum or community or whatever the fuck. But
okay, so he consulted like people that were specialists in it to sort of help. Yeah.
But
need to.
I mean, it does sound pretty good. The stuff that he did on what was it, Worlds? I think.
Yeah,
was the album.
Yeah, that sounded really good.
It was Al Pacino, and I'm Jamie. I'm Joe Rogan's Jamie.
Yeah, guys, pull that up.
Finally got over the finish line. It's Simone, is it called, and it's using a 1 for the I and then 0 for more late speak. And that's it.
Did the people think that they were watching a real person?
Yeah, but
so it didn't look
it was
like
Al
a
Pacino
hologram
in a van.
It didn't look like a hologram on stage.
No, so she had like music videos and all this shit. Actually, Anna was an actor.
Yeah,
so
she
it
was
like
an actress.
acted in films and shit like that, and it was just all CG, or AI sort of generated. But then obviously you have to do a live thing, and then it was just holograms.
Yeah. People have talked about doing like just hologram live shows, but I think it's a problem that people, it just wouldn't seem like as much of an event if you were watching. Because it would have to basically be a predetermined performance, or maybe you could film it, like stream it remotely, I guess.
But I think if people
there's something
people are
like
getting
not
into the
real
realms,
about it. There's a bit of a problem with that. I think.
If people got into the realms of being able to do that, they're going to just pre-record it.
Sure, yeah, that's true.
But wouldn't you love a world where we could sit in our pants and DJ, and then an astral projection of us is on stage at EDC?
Yeah, it would be amazing. But what I'm saying is, from a travel point of view, it would save us a lot of time. But I don't think
from an audience point of view, it's kind of shit.
Yeah, from an audience point of view, it's terrible. And but I don't think people would take it seriously at all. Like, I don't think it doesn't have the same event as like the real person being there, I guess.
Like even if there's a band on stage at a festival or in a club or something, and they don't have a drummer, they just got like sample pads and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm always a bit like,
You do feel a bit let down, don't you?
the fucking energy's gone,
Yeah.
and maybe it'll just be like a version of that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't feel like that about DJing, which is weird.
Who was the band that didn't have a drummer?
Dude, there's loads.
Keen.
I mean, I don't
Keen,
have a
they
drummer, but
You're not looking to get one?
no. I mean, I like I do shows where I'm like playing from Ableton and stuff.
Do you remember? Sorry to just distract.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you came on tour with us and you just launched the
Circle thing?
The circle.
Yeah.
And I can remember our manager Joe coming backstage and be like, "They're throwing things through the circle because it looked like a target."
Yeah, that was a bad start, but I never had that again.
I guess once you were standing there, they stopped throwing things because it made more sense. But till then, it was like a
no,
target.
I know. I think that was in Ireland somewhere, wasn't it?
Was
like
it?
we started the tour in Ireland.
That was a mistake. Of course, I don't know. Of course, they
not like no disrespect to Ireland, whatever. But they, but yeah, it developed a lot after that and just got a lot bigger. But yeah,
I remember
I've always liked. I quite like seeing like Daft Punk or Chemical Brothers where it's all electronic and there's
like, what was the biggest manifestation of that rig? Because I think I can recall seeing it at Brixton and it was like 6 rings. It was like huge.
No, it's got 3 rings. I started using like some of the holographic projection screens in it.
Like
actually.
texture mapping.
Projecting onto transparent screens,
right?
Basically, which is tricky. I was like testing a bunch of different. They're all like the one I use is called Hologauze. It's the same one that Eric Prydz uses on his like amazing.
So that's actually like a transparent surface that is projected onto.
Yeah, it looks like really fine chainmail if you look at it closely. It's basically sort of metallic. So I guess it's makes it more reflective. I don't really know the science of it, but you can sort of project onto anything, but you lose a lot of like any kind of gauze you could project onto and it would be transparent, but you lose a lot of brightness depending on what it is. And
because Prydz's thing is like above the crowd, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, what's cool about his, I think, is it's at an angle, so you get a sort of 3-dimensional illusion.
Because it seems to be,
amazing.
it looks like it's suspended over the crowd and above it, and in front of him all at once.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of angle pointing, sort of starting at the stage and pointing upwards.
Do you know what I saw recently in China? It was I was trying to figure out what it was, and our VJ Joe explained it to me. He knows everything. And it was like imagine like a meter long bar of LEDs, and then
I think I know what you're going to say.
And it was spinning really fast at a high RPM, and then it would project up the LED strip.
Yeah,
and it was completely holographic. Like it looked like it was 3-dimensional. It was amazing.
I saw a clip of that on Instagram, and it's actually like an idea that I was toying with for live shows, but it would, to scale it up to a live show size, you'd basically be like standing
to Joe, like,
in front of an enormous like rotor blade. It'd be really dangerous.
Really fucking dangerous, yeah.
But I like that concept of when you rotate something fast enough, it generates an image.
Yeah.
So it looked 3D, did it? That's
it looked amazing, yeah. Like, I think it was just advertising something. It was in an airport in Beijing. And
you seen those drones that can do they have like a pixel each and they'll form like, I think they had that.
Like drone swarms sort of thing. Yeah.
It's amazing. That's sick. That was so good.
They formed like the Olympic rings and then a flag or something.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff.
We kind of had that. We had that idea for one show, and then someone talked about the reliability of a drone.
Having drones above the crowd.
Like a swarm of drones, yeah.
Well, they do that. They fly drones over the crowds at festivals.
Yeah, but if we did it, they'd all crash.
But there's like one just getting an aerial shot. There's not like 200 of them in formation. That would be an amazing show, though. I kind of wonder if like the future is just going to be full of drones everywhere. Like they're going to be like insects, like you're just going to hear like buzzing past your head the whole time.
Just going and doing something.
There'll be one of that
like
window.
Delivering stuff.
There'll be one of that window right there, checking on what we're doing.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Well, Amazon were trying to launch a drone delivery system.
Yeah.
Bring that shit on.
Yeah.
They use drones to deliver blood in Africa.
Yeah. I find them like the sound of them is kind of creepy because they're a bit insect-like. Do you ever watch those like? Do you ever watch
the drone racing?
Well, no, I was going to say like companies like Boston Dynamics, they make like sort of like
the
attack
donkey
robots and stuff. It's
it's
really
terrifying.
creepy.
It's super cool but terrifying.
Have you seen the one where they kick it? They're like kicking it,
and trying to knock it down.
There's something really wrong about it in the first place, and then the fact they're kicking it as well is like it's just an all-around horrible video.
Yeah, it's like they're kind of being mean to the robot, but it is quite. Yeah, the thought of what that's going to turn into is pretty scary, isn't it?
It's going to remember and
in the future that thing's going to come back and bite us in the fucking ass.
Yeah.
All right, we should probably play a tune. This next one's Tim by Artie. We were kind of feeling trancey today.
I love this one.
So this is a good start. was Artie with Tim, I guess a tribute to Avicii.
That's what we call in our industry a drink spiller. So have we got any new jingles that we haven't used?
I do. Let me have a look.
It's jingle time.
Jingle time. Although I don't know what we're going to do with them.
I mean, we did last week. We'll show them to people, and then if they're relevant, we'll use them.
Yeah. I had a idea of one segment which would be good, but for now we can do this one.
My son, absolve your sins. It's the DJ confessional.
That's good, isn't it?
The DJ, you're on the spot now, Nick. It's the DJ confessional.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolve your sins.
What do you mean? What?
Don't know.
All right, I'll kick it off.
Okay.
So when there was this one time where we were doing the knife party thing, and it was the haunted house.
Yeah.
At one of the haunted house shows, and it was in Ibiza.
Yeah.
And I think we had the haunted house in the club.
Yeah.
And we had Aoki coming on to sort of close out the night. Yeah. So he was coming on after us to play. And he had basically his whole setup right behind us. So there wasn't much space.
I know this.
There wasn't much space on this haunted house. It was sort of very limited.
I think I had a look peeking at haunted house.
It was tiny. I mean, downstairs there was even a lounge and shit which people didn't see. But
oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we had a PlayStation.
Let's hang out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good though. But Aoki basically, I mean, there was limited space, so he had his sort of cakes and all that shit that he uses. He had them all set up on the top floor of the house.
Yeah.
And I had a bit to drink. Yeah. And I didn't realise that the cakes were behind me. So I was stomping around fucking talking to people and pouring drinks and having fun. And at some point, someone pointed out that I'd stood on every fucking cake.
Oh no.
Like smashed every single one.
Oh, well, I've got one then on that topic. I drew a penis on one of his cakes.
I feel like people wouldn't have seen that though.
That might not nice.
I mean, the last thing they saw as the cake was coming at them was probably a penis drawn on a cake before it hit their face.
I saw Steve Aoki had a major stage dive fail at this gig that we did in Puerto Rico, and I felt
he jumped in.
Yeah, I felt really bad for him. There were these like trampoline dancers on the side of the stage. There were sort of trampolines on either side of the deck.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Towards the front of the stage. And he basically got on the table where the decks were, then jumped onto the trampoline. And I think he was going to go into the crowd from the trampoline, but he basically trampolined back onto the stage and really hurt himself. And,
poor guy.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, that sounded good until he said he got hurt. But
yeah. It was a bit bad, but he's fine now.
In my mind, I sort of had the image of someone coming back into the decks and doing a double drop.
Well, he just got straight back on the decks.
Well, if it was Andy, he would have just dropped a tune back in.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have blinked.
Yeah, he would have brought in all that jazz or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that? Was that just Fresh on his own?
It's Fresh, Darrison and...
Darrison.
Yeah. I think it's just Fresh and Darrison, isn't it?
I saw him like 6 months ago in Bristol.
Did you?
Where the fuck Brighton? That's where I saw him.
Yeah, he's from Brighton. Yeah. Nice.
Great energy, that guy.
Yeah.
We still use one of his screams and tunes.
Oh, yeah, really?
Was it him? Yeah.
Yeah. He did this little...
Yeah.
No royalties, of course. It's a fucking scream. Can't you, bro?
Lawyer up.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. Any sins to confess?
Yeah, come on, Nick. What have you got?
I can't think of any sins. I can think of like embarrassing
What about an EDM dance music faux pas?
Man, play the next tune. I'll come up with something.
Have you forgotten someone's name? I do that.
I'll tell you one thing actually. This is just kind of embarrassing. I introduced Diplo to Hype, and
this is already good.
This story is already amazing.
And Diplo's starting to really blow up in the States. He's doing the first Major Lazer album,
right?
And we were chatting outside this hotel, I think in LA or something. And I know maybe it was I can't remember. It was for one of the big Insomniac festivals. And Hype comes up and he's like, oh man, like Hype is like a massive inspiration to me when I was younger. Like he was telling me about how much he liked Hype. And I tried to introduce Diplo to Hype, and Hype like didn't really give him the time of day at all, and it was really embarrassing because I think he I was trying to say this guy's a really big deal in the States. You know, he's a massive fan, and he was like, "All right, mate."
I love Hype. I always called him Grumpy Bear or Grumpy Grandad.
Yeah. He wasn't sort of super polite to play. But,
amazing.
Don't you know who I am? Drum and bass, fucking legend.
Yeah.
Oh well. Poor Dibbler. We have actually got one of his tunes as well.
Major Lazer.
Actually, I don't know if he did it. Does he do all the Major Lazer stuff? I don't know.
I think so. I guess maybe he executively produced now because he's doing so many other things. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not too into this stuff usually, but I heard this track the other day. It's fucking killer. This is Major Lazer with, I don't even know how to say the track name. Or Can't Balance Pon It. That's an Australian's best impression of fucking part to our title. All right, here we go.
Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it. I beg you, balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it.
Black Panther yonke indawo. I'm not the queen of gum for nothing. And I'm angry.
I beg you, balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it. I beg you, balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Balance panic, control it. Control it when you roll it.
Ay, kodwa Nkosi yami ngenze njani?
What language is that?
Original dance.
I couldn't catch it.
Well, that last one was English.
Cool English.
Yeah.
That was a banger.
That was Major Lazer. I feel like Porter Robinson has made trance synths cool again.
Yeah, big time. I definitely feel like there's a sort of a little bit of a potential revival, or at least people are starting to like touch those sounds a bit again. I'm quite enjoying it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's cyclical. People get bored of certain group of sounds and move on back onto the.
I didn't think they'd come back, to be honest. I thought people were really anti-trance for a long time.
That's true. Yeah, I think maybe because it was so big, I guess, and like. If the bigger something is, the more the likely to kind of
like it was always the
backlash.
main stage at fucking God's Kitchen. I don't know if that's a trance festival, and I'm
God's Kitchen is a
being
trance.
Is it?
I think so.
Well, it was always like main stage in the UK. You'd always see like Creamfields. It was always like Tiesto and
And to start with, like in the States as well, when it was
almost
when we
like the
started
revival,
going over to those sort of festivals. Those were the guys that were kind of headlining, weren't they? Like
the big
Paul Van
Burens,
Dyke or Armin van Buuren or
It was.
That just reminded me of another segment. I was gonna, and I haven't even got a sound for it. So
yeah.
How about this? I'll say it with reverb. Tune review. That was exciting. Fuck's sake! Could I be any more amped?
That was amazing.
Well, you get a go.
Give me verb.
All right.
Tune review.
Tune review.
Tune. Review.
I'll probably just cut that out and we'll use that. Basically, I want to play like a tune every week.
Yeah.
If there's a guest, make them review or make Gaz
just
review.
make me review it if I haven't got a guest.
All right. Let me find the fucking tune first because I'm that unorganized that I've lost it. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Found it straight away. All right. See what you think of this.
Cool.
Wait for the lyrics though.
Sand, you are sun, you are love, you're the one, you're my day, you're my night, you're my beat, bring me light, you are classy, you are grace, you are fine, and you're mine, 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 mine. You're my dream, you're my soul, I'm alive, make me whole, you are...
Well, it's a very interesting lyrical content. I don't know if it's my thing.
I'm not a massive fan. Who's the artist?
I wish people could see your facial
Am I going to
expression.
get in trouble?
It kind of sounds like, I don't know. You're at a club and there's some fucking creepy dude right next to you, whispering it into your ear.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be prejudiced, but that guy's got a hairy chest.
Oh, he definitely does.
And a few too many buttons undone at the front of his shirt.
He sounds a little bit creepy.
Imagine you're trying to enjoy the club and just have a
space
drink, and there's some guy saying this shit to you.
You're the deal, I can feel you're surreal.
Thanks.
You are free,
all right.
make me high.
Cheers.
You are fine,
thanks.
And you're mine, mine, mine. You are
I'm what?
Sexy.
Thank you.
Sexy. You are...
Fuck that shit. I'm not putting up with that.
I mean, yeah, there's a whole thing in electronic music specifically where there's I don't know, I think it's like there's a lost in translation element in some of the samples that our European friends use sometimes, and I find it kind of cute.
Like, you mean the lyrics?
Yeah, just that because obviously it's not their first language, they'll do something they think is probably a lot cooler than it actually is.
You Are Sexy. Yeah, that's You Are Too by Armin van Buuren.
Oh, right, okay.
Apparently.
Is that recent then? That's a new thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing lyrics.
Yeah.
How many stars do you give it out of 5 stars, Nick?
Well, I don't love it, but it's just so silly. I guess like 2 stars. It's quite well produced, shall we say?
That's quite generous.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. God, I don't know what to do next. I guess we'll just keep doing segments until something comes up.
Let's just roll segments until there's no more segments.
All right, here we go.
news.
Super important news.
Go on, ask me.
For news?
Yeah.
Have you got any?
No, I thought...
Oh, yeah. Have you got a new hat?
No, I don't have a new hat.
Oh, yeah. We were going to do that every week as a joke. And I forgot. My fucking memory.
What's news? I don't know. Is Trump out yet?
I'll tell you one bit of news. Check this out. And there's Lil Peep and XXX Tentacion. How do you say his name? XXX Tentacion.
Tentacion, yeah.
So that's the first time ever that there's been a tune released by two artists who are dead.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. That is crazy.
They weren't even working on that together.
Right.
What the fuck?
No, they weren't working on it together. It's just I don't know, somehow someone got a hold of the parts.
What's your stance on the posthumous, how do you pronounce the word?
Posthumous.
What's your posthumous standpoint with music, Nick?
With releases.
If God forbid something was to happen to you, do you have like none of my music comes out?
Like, could we finally finish Virgin Android and do a Pendulum versus Some Focus with the stems?
It could finally come out. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I probably hate because I mean, there's loads of unfinished music I'm not a fan of and would never want to put out that I've made.
Like with Michael Jackson, there's a reason. There's a reason he didn't release some of that stuff. Yeah, he dies and then suddenly the stuff starts to come out.
The Drake.
Yeah.
The Drake thing I thought was pretty cool though. Actually, I liked that.
Yeah, I didn't mind the song.
But yeah, I guess it's a tricky thing because you don't have any consent over what you do. But maybe you could be like, say, oh, these tunes are all right, but definitely not this one kind of thing. I don't know.
Apparently they didn't like each other either. Like one of
these two guys.
Yeah, one of XX Tentacion, one of his friends was tweeting, I don't know whether it's true or not, but it was saying that he didn't even like the dude. What the fuck are you putting him on a tune with him for?
Right, yeah.
Which is like, okay.
I think that's off key.
Yeah.
If I die and
we have a policy,
and you put me on a tune with Lil Peep, I'll haunt your ass. I'll come back as a fucking...
I'd love to hear some of your unreleased stuff. I was making you play like some unreleased stuff before this. Actually, it's really enjoyable to. Hear some of those old tunes.
The dubstep tune, yeah.
We've actually got some. And this is probably one you have. I don't even know if you had a demo of this, but we basically in 2004, I think it was.
Yeah.
We had you round to our studio in Hendon, which was like,
oh my god, that building,
piece of shit green rental building.
Yeah.
Do you remember you had to pay? We had to prepay to get electricity, so we had to go to the corner store. Yeah, we had to go to the corner store and get like a scratch card to come back to get fucking electricity.
Yeah. So we were finishing like Girl on the Fire, and the power would just. That was that fucking project gone. You'd be like, oh, but the riff, I had this fucking. Oh, it's gone. Too late. So yeah, this is finally managed to dig it out. This is Virgin Android. This is what we worked on in 2004.
Amazing.
It's very sneaky. It's very sneaky.
Like spy film vibe.
What were we sneaking about?
Dub plates.
Dub plate sneaks. That's a good name for a band.
Can anyone help her? Can anyone save her soul?
I love that song.
Needs more work though.
Yeah, it does.
And random silence. What happens now? Old wooden ship.
It makes me think of a ship. Yeah. Like a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of.
Yeah.
Galleon or whatever.
I like that little wind up there.
Yeah.
Stop her.
I don't remember what happens now. Does anything happen?
I don't know.
Can anyone help her?
It seems like it's going somewhere. It's getting pretty exciting.
Can anyone save her soul?
Definitely needs drum work.
Oh. I'm not sure, like, we should be playing this to people, because it's kind of like, it's like, because I don't think, have you ever played it to anybody?
I sent that basically. I'll cut that now.
Yeah.
I sent that to Andy C, but it didn't even have that last little bit with the riff.
Yeah.
It just got up to that little wind up.
It was just intro, wasn't it?
It just got up to the wind up and then it stopped. And he was like, "Mate, you can't do that."
Yeah. Because I think it's like, sometimes I still see like people talking about it, and it's mad because it was never even like
we never played it out. How
doesn't
play it out? Doesn't
it was
drums.
like it's a really short session, wasn't it? But
I think we might have. I don't know. I think we might have got on DOA and said like, "Yeah, we're working on this new tune with some vocals."
Yeah. Oh man, we really should have. Actually worked on it. Oh man,
I think it's
really
always
cool to hear that again, though.
It's always hard when you have an intro like that. That's obviously going somewhere. You haven't actually sorted out what the fuck where it's going to go.
Like you can hear.
I quite often do it the other way around most of the time. I don't know if you guys are the same. Like, get the kind of focal drop point of the tune sorted first, because that's the kind of bit that you need to work.
I'm trying to learn to do that, but I almost like the pressure of like, now you've got this big fucking epic intro. Like we had the intro for Internet Friends way before we had the drop, and it's like, holy shit, what's going to happen?
Sometimes the intro will write the drop.
That's true. Actually, I don't always like start with the drop, but it'll be like literally the first thing you hear will probably be one of the last things I do, if you see what I mean. You'll have like the build up maybe as the starting point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm trying to learn to work that way around though.
Yeah.
I think it is better. Here's another segment that we nearly missed out on.
Yeah.
EDM conspiracies.
That's my favourite one.
This is so cool.
Do
you know of any EDM conspiracies worthy of mention? What do you think of the DJ Top 100 thingo?
What do you mean? Was there a conspiracy about that? Or?
Well, I mean, there's very strong word on the grapevine that the votes are bought.
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon? I don't know.
I mean, it's a rumour.
Who do you pay? What's the
what's the mailing address?
Oh, is it the magazine? Like, I don't know.
No, but you
no, because it's votes.
You pay people to vote for you, kind of thing.
So they use bots to also. I mean, this is
or make bots.
Yeah, they use bots to.
Yeah, it is possible that I guess there's been. It's not something that I look at that keenly, because I think the types of music that I like aren't really that represented in it. So like.
Yeah.
I mean, I like some of the DJs on it, but I think it's quite skewed towards like certain types of music, isn't it?
What's hilarious is Joel Deadmau5 getting in it, and he's never DJ'd in his life.
Yeah. Or Daft Punk, who practically, they must have DJ'd back in the day, but they don't DJ now, really. Yeah.
Here's a good one.
Yeah, go on.
So this is the new Mariah Carey track. The first conspiracy are the lyrics to the chorus.
Amazing.
Since when the fuck did Mariah Carey use that sort of language?
Yeah.
I'm appalled, Rob.
But the second thing is, this is the intro to the last Porter Robinson track on his album. It's a fucking Porter sample.
Is it?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a conspiracy.
I'll play the intro again.
Oh, yeah.
Do you reckon that was licensed?
Well, if it wasn't Porter, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Actually, you probably heard it on your EDM where I fucking stole the news from. See, that's come back to bite you in the ass, cunts.
It's normally you get like a good windfall for that happening, don't you? I mean, like, because that happens surprisingly regularly, that you hear like hip hop samples that are unlicensed.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know.
It's mad.
I think sometimes they try and recreate them if they can get away with it.
I think that's what.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but will.i.am apparently started to dabble in EDM, and he apparently ripped off a lot of people's tracks, but had them recreated. So
So basically, it turns into like a cover sort of thing.
And they had less grounds to go after him because he'd had just had them recreated.
Yeah,
nasty.
Yeah,
there's apparently a company which can recreate that shit.
Yeah, there's a few sample recreation companies. I've like used that before. I mean, because it's hard to, remake certain samples. I've done like, sometimes I've tried to recreate stuff on my own and done it, but it is, when you're trying to like make a sound that is of an era sort of thing.
Especially if it dictates the whole vibe of the tune, and then you really need it then.
Yeah. It's a lot about researching I really enjoy that. Like if you find an amazing sample and trying to like figure out, like maybe you might want to make something that sounds like it, researching the kit that was used, like what type of stuff it might have been recorded on. But
yeah.
Some amazing people are doing that. I mean, I'm sure you guys are pretty adept at that as well.
Dude, that's the whole reason I started doing vocals, is I just couldn't be fucked getting session vocalists in and doing the whole thing. So much easier if you just do it yourself.
Yeah.
What do you think? Should we wrap it up?
We didn't do our Metal Minute.
Oh, we didn't? Well, let's fucking end with that then.
Metal Minute.
All right.
Tell me about this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, this is just a minute where we play.
So should we say goodbye now and run out with the Metal Minute?
That sounds like a thing to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Nick.
Thanks very much for having me, man. I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, man.
Really good chat.
Good stuff. This is the Metal Minute.
Metal Minute.
Yeah, just because I forgot to announce anything last time, this is Veil of Maya with Mikasa.